good. I mean, I want to start off by asking you about your golf tournament because we don't care about what just happened in the Canucks game. Was it pretty rainy out there today, though?
It was pretty wet, yeah. It's hard when you're an adaptive golfer and it goes cart path only. So I probably walked 2 to 3 times as far as the other golfers today. But I play in the lowest handicap division, so like championship division, and I shot 7 over in the pouring rain in a long course. So I'm pretty pleased with how it went. First tournament of the season. Can't complain. No double bogeys on the card, just bogeys, 1 birdie, rest pars. So pretty happy considering I haven't really been able to get out and play much. So not too upset about how it went today.
It's good. Good start to the season then.
Yeah, and then get to come home and watch the Canucks finish off the Devils here with a big comeback victory. Man, they needed those 2 points, hey?
I am emotionally exhausted, Dustin. Every single game, it is like this. It's just like, we score, we get scored on twice, we score, we get scored on twice, and I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself.
I was listening on the way home, and it just sounded a bit wild there. The third period kind of back and forth, you know. But yeah, Demko made some huge saves there late in the third, and then that split save in overtime. Hopefully that groin's holding up okay, because we definitely can't afford to have any more injuries to this team right now. I mean, that was a huge 2 points. You know, losing Pedersen and Höglander, having them being sent home from the road trip is horrible news. 5 AHLers in the lineup tonight. I mean, Mancini's arguably on that cusp of being NHL, and Lekkerimäki's pretty close too. But you know, and then the NHLers that are in the lineup aren't really. I mean, you got DeBrusk and Besser are like your scoring guys. Thank goodness Pius Suter is such a dynamic player. Really filled in well to help with the offense tonight. Yeah, just a really gutsy effort by the boys. Jonathan Lekkerimäki looked really good from the little recap that I watched when I first got home, and his goal was nice. Good to see him getting into that, you know, soft, gritty kind of front of the net zone. What a pass by Forbert. Who saw that coming? I mean, didn't even know he had that in the toolbox. We've been praising him for his penalty kill work and the work he does in the defensive end, but huge for someone like that to step up and get a pass out of the corner like that to Lekkerimäki. I thought Lecker had it in overtime there when he beat Markstrom on the short side, but was a little bit wide of the net, and quite a. You just felt like he was going to score in the shootout. Like the way he twirled his stick before he picked up the puck, just like all the confidence in the world was like, good luck, Marky. I missed in overtime. I'm not missing this one. And clearly Markstrom wanted that win badly, because don't usually see him lose his cool like that. I think he, not that aggressively in
he's got a temper. But you don't usually see him smash his stick. Like, more than anything, you'd see him probably, he'd do it outside of the view of the cameras is why I would describe it. So to see him do that, it definitely meant something to him to lose that game, I guess.
Yeah, you know, that's the third straight loss for the Devils. They did get a point, but, you know, who cares? When it's an East Coast team, who cares? Right now in the playoffs, 2 points matter. When it's a 4-point game, you got to really focus, but the nice thing is, going forward to the rest of this kind of road trip until we arrive in Winnipeg, we can not really worry if we end up going to extra time. You know, like it was good to fight and get the tie, and then when you get into overtime, it's not as much pressure. And it felt like, you know, the Canucks were kind of had the momentum, just because after tying it up, they're like, okay, we got job 1 done. Now let's finish it off. Probably one of the better overtimes we've seen from the Canucks this season, just kind of at both ends of the ice. no like major odd man rushes where we're like, oh well, here we go, this is over. Um, yeah, and Demko really solid in the shootout, and yeah, good work.
Well, I was
Big two
worried there in
points.
overtime, right? Because I was yelling like Besser was not like reading it that he needed to get back, and he didn't start skating until it was too late. Luckily, Demko made his like little full splits. He saved it with the cup on his pants, right? Like it. If there was any space there, that was going right under it. So that hit him right in the cup. So we'll see how he's feeling after that game. But if he can do that, then obviously he's probably back and feeling pretty good. Swerve and Irvin asked Dustin, what is Mancini showing you so far?
So far, I like the way the kid can skate with the puck. He's got some good wheels, big body. I think he needs a little work on the hockey sense, like speeding up the first pass a little bit. But for his age and how quickly he has developed, usually defenders and the bigger guys, like Mancini, usually take a few more years to kind of find their way when it comes to the NHL level. But I really like how he supports the forwards, and also he's not afraid to jump in the rush, which is something we don't really have in some of our defensemen, other than Quinn Hughes, obviously, who I think last game set the record this season so far for fastest skater on ice. Reaching over, like, I think it was almost 25 miles per hour. He was skating there in New York when he went end to end. So it's nice to have that extra player who can do that. And I really like what I've seen from him so far, and especially because he's a right-handed shot. I mean, those guys are so valuable in the defensive market. So to have a young kid who really looks like he could push for almost the fourth spot on that right side. I really like what I've seen from him so far. And I like what Talkett is kind of doing with giving him a couple games and giving DPD a couple games, because they are young AHL guys, right? Like they can get overloaded. And so I think the load management has really helped these guys, develop the best way they can when it comes to defenders. Also, they're working with Sergei Gonchar and Adam Foote. I mean, two Hall of Famers that, you'd take any piece of advice those guys gave you, like two of the best defenders that ever played in the league. So that is always a huge benefit. And I found like with the defenders, they benefit more being up with the big club and working with those guys. Whereas, some of the forwards need to stay down in AHL where they can kind of light it up and get their confidence. So it's a weird dynamic where our young defenders kind of come up and start to blossom really fast, whereas our forwards kind of take a little bit of time to make that transition from AHL to NHL.
It's pretty much the perfect combo. We've got Foote and Gonchar. You got one of the best defensive defensemen of all time and one of the best offensive defensemen of all time. So it doesn't matter what kind of defenseman you want to be. You got somebody who can explain. I mean, both of them have their cups too, right? So looking like a lot of winning pedigree, helping out those young Canucks defensemen, which is good to see.
Absolutely. And I mean, you see it even with all the injuries and the difficult season. Hughes and Hronik are still the top pair in the NHL for goal differential 5-on-5. When those guys are out there, it's really hard to score on us. And that's huge. When you have your 1-2 and you're the best in the league, I mean, that's a huge thing to build on. Now we just got to get our scoring differential a little tighter.
Are you starting to feel a little worried about Kiefer Sherwood? Because I feel like he's been having a rough go in the last week or two. It feels like he's having a hard time battling through for the puck, and it seems like he's missing some back checks and that kind of thing. And after having such an amazing start with so many goals, it kind of feels like maybe things have tailed off a little bit for him.
I think a couple games ago he had a pretty decent game. The game before New York, he had a huge goal in that game, I believe, or a couple big assists, and he has been getting some assists. It's hard because he's kind of that guy that bounces around the lineup. He's that utility player that it's like, go be a top six guy, and then this game's go be a third line grinder, or go be a fourth line guy, and so it's kind of tough because he's that jack of all trades guy that gets mixed all through the lineup. And so for him, he's just trying to, figure out what his job is on any given night.
Mhm.
Some nights he's going to have more offensive chances because he's playing in the top 6. And then other nights he's going to struggle to find offense, but hopefully he's helping in the defensive end. He's probably played more ice time this year than he ever has also in his career. And so as we get towards the end of the season, guys kind of feel the wear and tear a little more that they've never really felt before. And so he may need to take a day and find uh find some time to get some rest here at the late stages of the season, because it is tough to play the way that he plays. I mean, the way he throws hits every game, and he's he gives 110% pretty much every shift. He does make mistakes here or there, but what hockey player doesn't? I still would want him on my team any night, even if he is going through a little bit of a struggle offensively. Because I mean, let's be clear, we don't pay him to be an offensive player. It's
Right.
just a huge upside to his game that we've benefited from.
Okay, I'm about to push a button. Tell me if when I push this button, you suddenly see face-off data on my screen, all right?
Aha! Look at it all.
Did you see it? Okay,
Beautiful.
perfect. All
I
right, we
do.
can analyze this together because I like this. We're going to go over to our new fancy screen here because we got, obviously, Brock Besser only took the 2 face-offs. He was 50%. Connor Garland doesn't really matter. Drew O'Connor, Jonathan Lett. Here we are. We're into the meat of it. Pius Suter was 57% in the face-off dot. He was 9 for 18 against Nico Hischier and 3 for 3 against Cody Glass. And then Teddy Bluger came in at 38% overall, who's the worst by far. If we take Teddy Bluger out of that equation, look at Atu Ratu. He's 9 for 11 at 82%. Niels Ahmann only took 4 faceoffs. He was 100% on the faceoff dot tonight. So that was one of the big differences, I think, for the Canucks tonight. Because if you look back at the overall stats, the Canucks ended up winning 57.4% of those faceoffs, right? So take Bluger out of the equation. He's got to figure his shit out. All the rest of the centers who were filled in the faceoff dot beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, Bluger's been struggling in the faceoff dot the last probably month, I would say. Not sure why that's the case. Maybe he was getting more winger wins when he was with Joshua and Garland. And he's more of a tie-up guy, and the wingers that he's got aren't really getting in there. I don't know if that's why his numbers have dropped so bad. But I definitely knew that Ratu was going to come up and really dominate in the face-off dot, because it's something he's really worked on in the last couple months down in Abbotsford. And I mean, how could you not? I mean, your head coach is Manny Malhotra. Every single one of your centers is going to know how to take a face-off down there.
Future coach of the Vancouver Canucks, Manny Malhotra. Start the rumor now.
Honestly, I'd love it. I'd love it. I think he's exactly the type of guy that the organization needs. He is not an arrogant person in any way, shape, or form, and he respects his players and demands the best out of them. And the structure that he has built in Abbotsford, I mean, those guys are fun to watch every game.
Well, let's have a chat about Abbotsford then, because we got a game to talk about. Their second game
Let's
against
do
the
it.
Manitoba Moose. And we can do the fancy thing where I bring it up on the screen too for everyone to see.
Look at you. Look at this production value we got going on now.
This is a very familiar looking score.
Yes, look at that. This one had to go to extra though. It was a tight game, back and forth.
Shots are close, 33 to 32.
First period there, trading 2 goals each. Sammy Blais getting his 11th of the season. You had Atu Ratu there getting an assist. I'm pretty sure he won the draw back to Jetwoo. Jetwoo shot the puck and Blais tipped it in on that one. And then we have another one from Cole McWard, who's, quietly got some points under his belt this season from blue line. Been a really good two-way defenseman. I'm curious to see how he develops and how he's utilized, but definitely could be an injury fill-in next season or definitely the season following.
And then Tyler Mueller and Phil Di Giuseppe getting the assist on that one.
Yes. And then Sammy Blais getting another one in the third period. be interesting to see what happens with Sammy Blais after this season, because the Canucks signed him to an AHL contract, and he really has, since he's been healthy, has seemed to find a little more of that speed that he lost when he went through some injury issues. And I'd like to see the Canucks maybe give him a PTO next year and see if he can kind of make another shot. He is a little older, but he is an established NHLer. Just some injury troubles that hampered his speed a bit. So I'd love to see him get another try. And then we had Guillaume Brisebois getting a rare one for the Canucks in third period there. And they got out to a 4-2 lead, but they couldn't hang on. Couple of power plays and quick strike there from Manitoba to even it up. And then in OT, the Sassonian one. Barry's won to get the win for the 7th straight victory for the Abbotsford Canucks, which has now pushed them into 3rd place in the American Hockey League standings in the Pacific Division, and pushing them more and more towards having some home ice advantage in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. They are now only 3 points behind the Ontario Reign, and the Colorado Eagles are quite far ahead, but the Reign are definitely a team they could probably reel in before the end of the season.
Yeah, it'd be a close race. 11 games left. It's nice to have a game in hand on Coachella, so that 4th place, we're tied at 73 points. We have the game in hand, so hopefully we can use that as an extra 2 points. And yeah, 10 points up on 7th place Tucson. So in pretty good shape here for the last 11 games of the season. Looking like the Canucks should be in the playoffs of the AHL this year. And of note, Ty Young there getting the victory again against Manitoba. He is now 7-3 in his AHL starts. So a very young rookie goaltender who's been called up for injury help has looked really solid so far, which has created some questions when our 2 guys are eventually healthy up here with the big club. It's going to create some questions going forward, given that we have Tolopilo, Seelovs, and Patera all under contract for next year. Ty Young really looks like he should be playing with the AHL team, not in the ECHL. So we will see how the rest of the season plays out for him.
Yeah, Patera still exists. He might just be a figment of our imagination now.
Yeah, he's somewhere.
It's nice to see too. Max Sasson ended up getting the first star of the game with the winner in overtime, and then Sammy Blais getting the 2nd star of the game as well with his 2 goals. That was good to see as well.
Yeah, Sasson really doing a good job filling in for all the call-ups, pushing the offense, finding a lot. He gets a lot of first assists, and really good to see him use his speed there in overtime. He wheeled that one and just blew by everybody, and got the victory for the baby Canucks.
You didn't get to see the whole game, so I'm not going to test your knowledge on the 3 stars. But if you were to hazard a guess, would you, in a 4-3 shootout win for the Canucks, would you give the first star to a New Jersey Devil?
Probably not. Probably not.
There it is. Timo Meier getting the first star for the New Jersey Devils with 2 goals. But that's weird because Suter also has 2 goals, but he's the 2nd star, but his team won. So that's strange.
Yeah, I know. You realistically, those should just be flipped.
Yeah. Flip those and we're fine. I'm fine. Thatcher Demko, first start in a while, gets the win, even though he only had an 8-8 save percentage, which is kind of interesting. But regardless, they don't ask you how you won, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he made a couple of key saves for sure.
I'll give him the 3rd star just for that groin save.
No kidding. Go.
Power play wise, the Devils did manage to score on the Canucks. They do have a really, really good power play. The Canucks were not able. Their power play looked terrible. And then hit wise, the Canucks did edge it a little bit.
Yeah, when you lose quarterback B your power play is going to suffer a little bit because for the last month the power play has just been Hughes to PD, Hughes to PD. They're kind of the two that look for the play. So a big loss on the power play with Pettersson being out, but we'll see what they can do. Maybe Lekermacki out there can push a little more offense. I think it's going to be good. Honestly, a good thing for him, kind of a silver lining to have PD and Höglander out because he's going to get that chance in the top six and kind of stay there and really get a chance to blossom and show his offense. And we'll see what he can do for the remainder of however long PD and Höglander are out, because realistically he's the guy that should stay in the lineup until they come back.
Yeah, I mean, from what we're hearing from Talkit, it's essentially they will be reassessed after the road trip. So we're looking at least another week or so. But to confirm, Pius Suter did get that second goal, which was the one in front where I got tipped in the high slot, and then it got tipped again by DeBrusk off the post, came down, and then both DeBrusk and Suter and Garland all took a swing at the puck, but they have eventually given it to Pius Suter, so he's got 22 on the year now.
Yeah. Pius Suter with the poke shot.
Yeah. It was just like, I didn't even know, like, there was so much going on. There were sticks everywhere. Like, it was hard to tell what was going on.
Yeah, that was really chaotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So the Canucks are now into have moved above the Calgary Flames in the standings. They have played 2 more games than Calgary, so that's a little hard to see. But they do have the 1 game in hand on St. Louis, so at least given a good effort coming up, they should be able to pull within 1 point of St. Louis at least moving forward.
Big game on Wednesday coming up here in Long Island.
Yeah, and then Red Wings are currently leading 2-1 with only 5 shots against the Utah Hockey Club in the second intermission.
Go
Canucks,
Red Wings, go!
Go Red Wings, go! Let's look up the Canucks schedule here because we'll have a look ahead at what's coming up here. So win against the New Jersey Devils in the shootout. We got the Islanders on Wednesday. We got the Blue Jackets on Friday, and then the Winnipeg Jets on the Sunday, which is a noon game. Should be interesting. Playing against another former Vancouver Canuck, Bo Horvat. What are you thinking happens in that game with a New York team that's also kind of battling for a spot, but also has just generally been a really good defensive team?
Well, that's the thing, is you know what you're going to get when you go see a Lamoriello team, so it's going to be even harder to generate offense. So we'll see what these guys can do and what kind of game plan Talkit and company draw up. But definitely going to have to work hard to get to the middle, because that's something the Islanders do choke off really well, is the middle. A lot of the goals are kind of tip goals or side to side perimeter stuff. So we'll see what the Canucks can generate, and hopefully another big 2 points. Every game matters all the way to the end of the season. So another effort like tonight. I mean, that was a gutsy effort by the team. Need to obviously clean it up defensively, but after the effort against the Rangers and then that one following it up, if they can keep putting those 60-minute games together, I mean, they can will themselves into the playoffs if they really want to. But it's going to be a really, really tough grind.
Yeah. And then Russell Bleeding Blues, who turns out that Death of Bleeding Blues is actually named Russell as well. He's like, it's ours. We'll see. I think something tells me this is coming down to like the last game of the season or some nonsense like that.
Let's just hope it doesn't come down to that makeup game that Calgary and LA play on the 17th of April.
Yeah. You're good to go for Wednesday for the first intermission, right? And the post-game show?
Wednesday, I will be here. I'll be ready to go.
We did jersey tearing while you were gone, and it was the jersey tearing that the chat came up with, and they were still giving me crap. And I'm like, nah. I'm just the messenger. This is your guys' fault.
You can't win, man. You can't win.
I know. Dobby should be running the show. Crystal should be running the show. Big hog, blah, blah, blah. Anything you want to say to chat before I let you go, brother?
Oh, no, it's just thanks for coming by again and supporting Russ as always. And sorry I missed the Rusty and Dusty side show tonight, but happy I could make it for the post game and looking forward to a good game on Wednesday. And we will see everyone at the first intermission in Long Island.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the stopping by for the post game show. And thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships as well. A couple of regulars got them out there too. So that's always good to see as well. And enjoy the rest of your night, brother.
You as well. And take care, everyone. We'll see you in a couple days.
Nothing is perfect.